So I did show that thing of records, but there's somebody dropped off an entire bottle collection and a bunch of old stuff as well. So I'm gonna load these up and see what I got. Okay, so last week, see, I do all these videos like in the same week, but then, you know, I put one out a week type thing. So my timelines might be off, and I apologize for that in advance. You know, I'm like a rookie. This isn't my like main gig or anything. I just do this for fun. The YouTube videos, the whole collecting thing and buying and selling collectibles, that's my main gig. As you can see, I own a retail store here. That was a quick swing around in Dunnville, Ontario. And I am lucky enough that in my town, we have a transfer station before everything goes to the landfill. And there is like a recycling center that you drive through, and the guys look at what you're bringing in and say, you know what, that can go in that recycling bin, that can go in that recycling bin, and then what's left goes to the landfill. And it's a great idea because the less that goes to the landfill, the better. But they also have a thing there for stuff like it's called the reuse bin, and all it is a giant sea crate. They just leave the front door open. And then you can leave stuff in there, or they tell you to leave stuff in there if you want, that is better than should be going in the landfill. And I've gotten tons of things out of that. I only discovered it like last year, and I've been going once a week, and I always seem to find something. Not every single week, but mostly. This time in, I saw records, which I've gotten in the past, and you know me and vinyl. There's a bunch of it there, and all over here and everywhere. Plus my collection's stupid at this point, a personal one. But I got, you know, excited and saw the rec box of records and was going through that and loaded into the van. And I didn't even look up to see the rest. And what the rest was somebody had dropped off what looks to have been an entire old, covered in dust and dirt collection of various bottles. Pop bottles from the 50s, 60s, 70s, all kinds of other sorts of bottles, a lot of them earlier, some of the smaller ones that look like early medicine bottles and things like that. I don't have a lot of experience with bottles. I do have a small pop bottle collection because of course I do. And I just love the graphics on the screen printed ones from the 60s and 70s. I grew up with the 70s ones. Tells you how old I am. But I don't know values. I sell them through here, usually in the $10 to $15 range for the more unusual screen printed stuff that I don't already have in my collection. I put out here and it goes. But like, I don't know from Coke bottles, and there's a lot of Coke bottles in this, and I don't know, you know, what's great or what's good or what's not good or what should just go into a recycling bin, because I'm sure there's some of that in here too. But anyways, I'm going to go through and show you that. I also picked up a couple other things that were in there, because when I looked around, the first thing I saw was, I recognized it's a Mason's frame with the little Mason symbols on it. And there is also, I'm just looking at it over here because it's on the ground right now, a really elaborate certificate in there that looks like it's for a Grand Master. So that's got to be worth something on its own. I've sold the frames before between $50 and $75. The glass is broke on this, but that doesn't really matter that much. Whoops. I almost dropped you. The glass is fairly easily to be replaced. I mean, it would be nice to have an early piece of glass like what's in there, but I don't know. I'm thinking this is like 1920s maybe era. I'll study it a bit more. But that and a few other things, and we'll go do that right now. You just saw me walk in, if I do my editing correct, into the bin and see some of those things briefly. So we'll get to a better spot where we can show you them all right now. All right. Okay, I'm just going to actually show you this real quick out here, and then I'm going to bring a basically box in at a time to go through. Look at all those Coke ones. That's nut bars. And then there's the frame and stuff like that. So we'll bring those over in, and you can see them one at a time. And then that way I don't have to clutter up my tiny little photo room. Okay, so you guys are going to get to go through this as I get to go through, because I haven't touched them. These things came out of my van, I put them in the store, and that was it. A lot of them are dirty. I apologize if like a giant spider crawls out, or like I find a dead mouse in one, which I have done before with bottle collections. Apologize that for in advance. I'm not going to edit it out, just have to sort of deal with it. Again, mentioning, I don't know a ton about bottles. I do know that, like, because recently I got in amongst a whole bunch of other bottles and things, was a fairly rare Crystal Beach soda bottle. And, you know, that got decent money. It went for nearly $100 US on eBay. I'm not expecting to find anything like that in here, but you never know. One bottle can make this all work. And keep in mind, free, saved from the dump, which, you know, I just love. So we'll start with this one here, which I'm going to say some of these are really hard to make out. And that doesn't look like that. It has some writing on there. But, yeah, not sure what that one would have been. It looks to have had a label on it. Again, if you guys see something in here and you're like, oh my god, that's a pretty decent bottle, just let me know. These all need to be cleaned up. That's a nice Nesbitt's. Sort of has that nice ribbed Art Deco look to it. There is a Werner's Ginger Ale. There is a different Nesbitt's. That's what I love about these. They change the bottle designs every so often, and they just, you know, it keeps it all interesting. That is just, looks like an old, yeah, liquor bottle. It's not even that old. Same thing again. That one will end up in the recycle bin, I think. That looks like an older liquor bottle. Diamond, which was a Canadian bottle maker. There is a Fresca. Again, needs to be cleaned up a lot. I'm wondering where these came from. I got a feeling this might have come out of somebody's barn. What does that say on there? Bottle made in Canada. And just a green, regular old bottle. Yeah, because the bottom of the box has a lot of like, oh, there's another one of those Frescas. And then this one is the Goodenhams. It's got the cap. It's an unusual shaped bottle. See, here's the thing. There are bottle collectors, and then there are people who just like them for decoration. Look at that old box. There's corn in there and everything. And so something like that would probably end up for somebody for a couple of bucks for decoration. I think that's a metal cap, but I'm not 100% sure on there. So we'll grab another box and go through and see what's up with any of those. Okay, so that is another tub filled with bottles again. We'll just grab them out randomly. This one is Texola. That's a nice. Here's another one I've never heard of. Woodland Beverage. That's kind of neat. It's got a lot of dirt in it. See, I live right on or near a river, the Grand River. That one's London. Probably another, that's Woodland again, but that looks like an earlier one. And so I imagine the bottom of that river, it's the Grand River, right before it goes out into Lake Erie, is filled with pop bottles. And I know a lot of guys do dive around here for stuff like that. And this looks like some of it has spent some time in the river, which is pretty cool. I enjoy that sort of thing. So here's... See, this one here, to me, probably isn't that old. It's got Coca-Cola on the bottom there. G. Again, I don't know what that stuff means. If you do, shoot me a thing in the comments there to help educate me about what I should be looking for. Because here's another one. No paint. And then let's see what's on the bottom of this one. I don't know if I can get it to show there. UA5. So, again... I don't know. There is Stubby Beverages, but that one's seen better life. This is another one. 6 fluid ounce. Money back bottle. Return for refund, but it doesn't tell you how much. So I don't think that one's old either. But again, for a decorator who just wants a cool piece of green glass, there you go. Now, this one's probably like 1970s or 80s. 10 fluid ounces. Coke. And show you guys the markings on the bottom because some of y'all might know that. I don't. But that's the stuff that I actually grew up with. That looks like it was probably a Coke bottle that just had the stuff wore away on it. Now, I know there are people watching this and thinking, well, should have just left it at the dump, which I agree with. You know, there are certain things that should just stay there. But stuff like this I can't leave behind. This one is Drink Wishing Well, nice embossed, so that's probably earlier from the 50s or maybe even earlier than that, because I know the little that I do know about pop bottles, I know that a lot of the early embossed ones were pre-war, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, I am no expert on this stuff. So there's a 10 ounce and that one's a milliliter, so that tells me it's probably 1980s, but it's still neat on there. And then there are also people who just collect all the different iterations of certain bottles, and Coke has many. There's another one of those little stubby ones, and there's another one. That one says made in, oh, trademark registered. I was hoping it said made in Regina. It's like, nice. Some of these are heavier glass and some of them aren't. Again, I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but yeah, worst case scenario, if they're not worth much and nobody's interested in them, they'll just get recycled, which, you know, isn't a terrible thing. There's another one of those larger Coke ones. I think I'm going to get a lot of the same out of this, so there is another one of those. There's a lot of those in there. Now this one is taller than those ones. 16 fluid ounces, makes no mention of milliliters on there, so it's either an American or an earlier Canadian one before we adapted the metric system, which I should know when we did, but I don't. I'm thinking it's like in the 60s sometime. So there's another 10 fluid ounces. Oh boy. Now there's one that looks a little different from all the others. No real markings on the bottom. There's a number 3. There's another Wishing Well embossed twist one. There's another giant Coke one. Another Coke. Another Coke. Like those ones, I think I should be able to get like $4 and $5 a piece for, I would imagine. You know, maybe that big tall one at the back, maybe a little more. These, I don't know, because I don't think they're actually old. I think because they still sell the stubby bottles. There's another Texola, but that one's worse. Oh, hang on. It's not Texola, it's Majestic Quality Beverages. I think Majestic was, if I'm not mistaken, they might have been a Hamilton, Ontario pop thing, but again, could be wrong, you know, for my friends who collect Canadian bottles and stuff like that. That one is 6 fluid ounces minimum, and there is no milliliters on that, so and it's fairly heavy, so I think that one might be a bit older. Another one of those Cokes. Another one of those Cokes. And there's another one that's fluid ounces, no milliliters, a little heavier too. What do we got here? Perkins, John Collins. That one's a bit, sadly the graphics are a bit gone, which, you know, if you spent your good time in the bottom of a river, you might be probably a bit worn out too. But some of these will clean up pretty well too, I think. Some have probably seen better days, but some will clean up. It's a Pure Springs, which I think was a ginger ale. There's another Majestic. And there is more Cokes. Maybe I won't bring these ones up. You can just sort of go through them and you can see in here what I can see. Trademark registered. I'm sure that means something to collectors. It's another one of those bigger Coca-Cola. There is a Kissed. Some of these I might have to check against my collection, because Those Woodlawn, I know I don't have. Again, I don't have a Coke bottle in my collection because I don't know that much about it. I drink Coke. That one is the Coca-Cola Company of Canada Limited, so that one I think is different. And trademark, and it's 6 fluid ounces, no mention of milliliters, so that one I think is early, and it's a diamond thing, which diamond B4. That one's interesting. Fully green Coke. I don't know what that one. It's a French bottler. Trademark. And then just fluid ounces again. So yeah, that's kind of it there. You can see there's a few more greenies. I don't even know its official name, and a wishing well in there. So again, I haven't counted how many I've got there, but that's a fair amount, you know. And again, all for free. Let's go get the next box. Okay. So this stuff looks more like utilitarian type things. Although that's an interesting shaped bottle. And it's, yeah, would have had a label on there. It has some sort of something on the back there. That's probably the bottle thing on the bottom of it, but interesting embossed on there. Looks like an apothecary type bottle. That is just your basic Crown canning bottle. Now some of these, that one's pretty wobbly on the bottom, so you can tell it's earlier. London Winery Limited. That's probably London, Ontario. And what is that? You can see it's like a dude sitting at a thingy, so that's kind of an interesting embossed bottle. Yeah, not expecting to hit home runs with a lot of that. That'll probably be just one there. It's blank that'll end up being recycled. There's another blank that'll end up being recycled, or somebody might see it. What do we have here? Trademark W. I have to look up to see who that one is. Again, nothing on that one. That looks, sadly it's shot. But that looks like an apothecary style bottle, and that one is cracked, unfortunately. That does happen. Fill to here. That one basically is upside down, says fill to here, so it was obviously some sort of concentrate. Oh, Certo. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, not worth a ton, but interesting enough. Buckley's cough syrup. Man, I wonder if it tasted as bad back then as it does now. Probably worse. But it gets the job done. Glass bottle, nothing. Javex, millions of those in the past. Another Javex. Another plain bottle. You know, see, this is the kind of thing when I was a kid I would have loved it. Well, kid, I mean teenager, you know, moody teenager. Put a candle in that. Try to pretend I'm all bohemian. I did write poetry at some point, so there you go. It's half the battle, right? More wine. Again, that's another one of those that, like, you just stick a candle in it as a kid and hope for the best. Big chunky liquor bottle. Another one of those things. Another Javex. It's another Crown canning jar. I know enough about canning jars to sort of know a little bit about them, that, you know, the beavers and the beehives and things like that are worth a lot, and 90% of the Crowns aren't worth much at all, except somebody who's going to can with them. But that doesn't. Oh, what's that one? You can read what that one says. Raleigh's. So probably another medicine bottle. And that one's J.P. Watkins, made in Canada. It doesn't have anything on it. That one doesn't have anything on it. And that's another Javex bottle. There's a lid to one of the canning jars. Okay, not the most exciting box, but still, again, free, so didn't really lose anything. We'll get to the next one. Okay, so here is another box. And again, I'm looking at this thinking most of this stuff in here not particularly interesting. Just old bottles. Nothing that interesting at all, but you never know. It only takes one. Yeah, these look like sort of older apothecary bottles. Older wine. These will probably most likely, design one, end up going to landfill. Not the landfill, the recycle center. Again, there's a Coke one. And you guys are sort of getting to go through, oh, what's that? Rocket Cola, please let there be, oh, there's a rocket graphic on that. Rocket Cola Co. I have never heard of them. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, it needs to be cleaned up clearly, but that is super cool. I was about to say you guys are getting to see this stuff for the first time because I didn't go through it first. Oh, that's a cool one. Yeah, that's staying in my collection. That's amazing. I love that. Let's see if there's anything else sort of interesting. Nope, these all look like just little, that's a bit of a bell-shaped one. I was hoping maybe there'd be something like, you know, like a poison bottle. But I don't think so, not in this group. What's that? Eclectric oil from Dr. Thomas. Wonder what that was supposed to do. Northrop, Toronto, Ontario. Kind of interesting. I wonder if there's any other. Most of these are just your plain. I mean, they're older, but look at that, half a caterpillar. So yeah, that's that box. But there you go. That just made it all worthwhile for me. I know most of you are like, "Really, dude? You got all those bottles, and you're happy because you got one out of it." Who knows? There might be more, but that's amazing. I love that. I love like space stuff. So like Rocket Cola. How did that brand name not like get used? I mean, screw Red Bull. Like what is Red Bull? Rocket Cola. That's what you need. Get on that. Okay, so these are the last three crates of bottles from that bottle find at the dump. This one I can just sort of show you. It's an early plastic crate. It's seen better days, but it's 1 pint. It's the Pepsi Twists. This one has 473 milliliters on it, so I'm going to say that's probably the 70s. But those are pretty cool as like a set. I'm sure somebody will want that. There's lots of Pepsi collectors. I actually find more Pepsi collectors now than I do Coke collectors. But that was kind of neat. Neat. I use the word neat. What do we got here in these ones? Woodbury. LM Rainer. That's kind of a neat old bottle. I might get that one. But again, a lot of these that I've been pulling out are, for the most part, just plain old glass bottles. And they are old, that's for sure. Like that one, looks like it was probably like a ketchup bottle or something like that. Ribbed and embossed all the way around, but no company name on it. On the bottom, no. There's another apothecary style looking type bottle. And actually, here's the thing. People really do like those because, well, that's too bad. That one's broke. they just like putting them in their bathrooms on display, whether they have labels on them or not. Probably, I mean, everybody, you know, wants to find the opium label or the poison and things like that, but sadly, there's another broken one. That isn't what you usually come across 90% of the time. Ooh, that one's sealed. Still got the cork in there. Old Air. Wish I could sell that. So these ones here actually make a nice collection for somebody. That's an Aqua Velva bottle. I recognize that. From, you know, a misspent youth wanting to impress women. Aqua Velva, that's the way to go. I mean, and later on, things you got on hard times, you could always drink it. So I've been told. That is a ball stopper. That came out sounding, should have probably thought about that before I said it. What was that one? Corona. All ball ones. You know, I'm on the other side of 50 and I still giggle like an 8-year-old at a ball joke. Classic. Now that is a ketchup bottle. And that, Maggie. I don't know what Maggie was. Neat shape. Somebody be digging that for the shape. Oh, there's a lot of like, that one is a whiskey bottle. Old Quaker whiskey. It's a screw top, but still. There's another one of those older ketchup bottles. Bunch of Aqua Velva. These canning jar stopper lids. Well, that's an older one. That's interesting. I don't think that's the Star of David. I got a feeling it's more about Canadian Confederation, which happened in '67, and they stuck that thing on everything, but I have to look at it more carefully depending on the points. But that's an interesting thing. I've never seen that before. And there's another ball number 10. Damn it. Every time I'm going to laugh. Terrible, Jay. Grow up. Lots of them. Lots and lots. There's another. That's an earlier one. Somebody who collects canning jars might be interested in those. Keep around. And that is that for the bottles. So, yeah. That is kind of an interesting piece I'm going to have to look into a bit more. Again, it's just, you know, it might be common, and my inexperience, you know, I've never come across that before, but it could be, you know, a common piece. I just haven't been lucky enough to ever find a common piece like that. So yeah, so that was all the bottles, but I got 2 more things that I want to show you. 3, actually, I guess. So just wait right here, because it's the Masons one, and it's kind of interesting too. Okay, so this is the last thing. If you've stuck around, these are the last 2 things that I got from the dump, and you'll see them when I show that video, which I hopefully had at the beginning. This is a nice early oak Mason's frame, specifically for Mason's certificates and things like that. You see the symbol up there. Really well put together, which you would expect, you know, from a Mason. Looks like quarter-stone oak, and if you look, this is a certificate for a Grand Master. And it names the guy on there. And if you look over here, it's 1931. Now, unfortunately, yes, the glass is broken. That can be replaced. The frame is the thing. And I have sold these frames before for upwards between 50 and 75 bucks without the certificates. And the certificates sell on their own. I imagine a Grand Master one would be probably more desirable. Just look at how beautiful that is. Like, it is a really beautiful work of art. Again, which you would expect from a Mason. There's the all-seeing eye up there. So that was pretty amazing. Again, free from the dump. And then I grabbed this while I was there too. I'll open it up. It is just a little, you know, dolly traveling case for kids. I've had these before. I've sold them before. The inside is solid, but missing its interior pieces. Needs a good cleaning. Somebody will probably just put new paper over that and it'll look right as rain, but this has the right look. Just enough beat up, little bits of travel labels on there, and sadly the leather handles are gone. But it's all metal on the outside. It's a great little piece, and it's got the look. And again, from a collecting standpoint, probably not the best thing, but from a decorator standpoint, this is a nice piece. It's got a good look to it, and it's a great smaller size. You know, it was done for children and their toys, like a little traveling toy chest. But it's got the right look, so I just grabbed it. And it's the kind of look you can't just sort of make happen. That just is natural over time. Patina, if you will, as they call it. And I just grabbed this. It's not terrifically old, 1980s, little desk lamp. I've sold these too. This one is made in Taiwan, so probably, again, 1980s, maybe 70s, but still, cool piece. So that is it. That is everything that I got from the dump. There is another video of the records if you want to see that. That's on the channel too. I just decided to separate the two. So yeah, check and see if you have similar kinds of things around you, because my dad used to always tell me, he used to say, Jay, if I had to pick at the dump every day, I would be a very rich man. And he's not terrifically wrong. I have got some really great things out of there. So hopefully you'll be able to find some too. All right, bye.